Good morning. It's such a privilege to speak to you guys today. Hopefully I can give you some insights into the world and daily doings of an early childhood teacher, and if you have any questions, please just don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so let's begin. I just always like to start by acknowledging the original custodians of the land in which we meet, the very vast land in which we meet, and pay respects to the elders past, present and future. Alrighty. So I'll get straight into it. A little bit about me. I've been working in the early childhood profession for 11 years now, so quite a while, going on 12 years. And I currently work in a long day program called Mia Mia, and it's at Macquarie Uni. And I'm an early childhood teacher and room leader in the 2s and 3s room. So what that entails is me looking after, educating and caring for 16 toddlers each day. I also manage a team of 2 or 3 other staff members, and I also work in partnership with families to care for their children. So it's a very challenging but rewarding role where we all get to live and grow together. But I'm going to take you back to where it all began. Okay, so I graduated high school in 2002, so a little while ago now. And I was lucky in terms of always knowing what I wanted to do. So I was part of a big family and always took a really nurturing role in caring for my younger siblings and cousins and family members, and I always knew that I wanted to work with children. Therefore, I carefully selected my subjects and chose things that were about children and child development and community and families, so I could kind of build up a knowledge base on all that kind of information. I also chose to do a VET course, which is a vocational education and training course, and so I could begin my Certificate 3 in Children's Services. What I didn't do is I didn't go for a UAI. I think it's called an ATAR now. I didn't go for a UAI simply because I didn't want the pressure of having a final mark that reflected whether I was, well, in my mind at the time, I thought that reflected whether or not I was successful. So I didn't go for a UAI, and then in the end I ended up going to uni. So I guess I just wanted to reinforce that even if you don't think that you can go to uni, you really can. Like, give it a go. Never say never. I wasn't at all an academic student. I wasn't confident in the way that I wrote, so I did English fundamentals in high school to kind of practice my writing and become more confident. So yeah, it just goes to show that even if you don't think in high school that you're going to succeed academically, you can and you will. So in 2003, the year after I left school, I did a traineeship. So what I did was I worked full-time at a preschool, at a long day program, and each day I'd get an hour to do my book work. And so I did, I completed my Certificate 3 in a year, and it was really good because I got to get hands-on experience, practical experience in the industry in which I wanted to work in. And traineeships are fabulous in terms of giving you an insight into whether or not you think that you're going to love a specific career, kind of giving you a chance to give it a go before you really commit to something. So after I finished my traineeship, I decided that I wanted to continue on with my studies. I wanted to learn more about early childhood and how I could support children and families better. So I went and did my diploma with TAFE. I continued to work full time because that was something that I thought was really important. And it's great in order to put the things that you learn, the theory that you learn in practice and see it in real life. So I did it through mixed mode. So that was one Saturday every week. Oh, there is one Saturday in every week. But every Saturday I would go to TAFE and I would learn the things that I was doing each day and kind of nutting out what it is early childhood was all about. So TAFE gives a really hands-on type experience and gives you skills in terms of being able to contribute to the workforce really well. And it's a great building block for if you do decide to go to uni, in terms of getting you in that way of thinking about what you're doing. So I completed my diploma and then decided I still wasn't finished yet and went to university. So I spent the following 4 years studying for my degree at Macquarie University. And so I did get prior recognition for the learning that I had done with my Certificate 3 and my TAFE diploma, which was great. And it still took me 4 years to complete that degree. I did it via correspondence, so I was able to work full time, and I would attend on-campus sessions and I would listen to the lectures online. It's a very tricky way to study. You have to be very disciplined and kind of let go of a bit of your social life, because if you're working full time and studying, it's a bit of a tricky juggling act. But it was perhaps one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Finally achieving it and getting through the stress and the tears of frustration, and finally achieving that, all the while thinking that I probably would never go to uni. And because I didn't go for a UAI in high school, I actually entered university as a mature age student. So I think it's always good to know that there are multiple pathways to get to your final destination, that you don't have to put all this pressure on yourself in high school to achieve that really high ATAR, that there are other multiple ways in which you can get to where you want to go. But yeah, university was really the most amazing experience in terms of challenging my thinking and encouraging me to be a really reflective educator. So I'm really grateful for that experience. And my educational journey will continue next year. I don't know whether I'm clever or a bit silly, but I plan to do my master's in early childhood education. So I want to continue to learn. So I've just got a few links here in terms of avenues that you can look at. Your TAFE diploma is really, really good in terms of giving you hands-on experience. I know they have play sessions that are there, so you actually get to run the play session at TAFE and get hands-on experience in terms of interacting with families, interacting with children, and offering them learning experiences. So it's a really good start. I remember learning songs, like sitting at TAFE and singing songs. So it's a really good way to kind of begin your experience. And then if you're considering doing your degree, Macquarie University, I can't recommend it enough. It was a really, even as an external student, it was a really supportive learning environment. I know that at the moment the degree is changing. I know when I did my degree, I did it from birth to 8 years, so I could teach in the first 2 years of primary. Now the degree is changing, so you can either choose, if you're wanting to only work with young children, to do a degree that's birth to 5. So that's your Bachelor of Teaching. Or you could choose to do a degree which is birth to 12 years, and that's your Bachelor of Education. So that's a huge span in terms of teaching children that are 2 months to then engaging with children that are 12 years. So yeah, it's a huge kind of age gap. Anyway, so I guess they're things to ponder, but definitely look at those 2 websites, and in particular the IEC one. Check out undergraduate studies, and they have all different pathways and options for you there. Okay, so when I was trying to figure out where I fit in the world, my grandmother actually told me something that has stuck with me. And she said to me that there was a place in the world for everyone. And when you're in high school and everyone's talking about what they want to do for the rest of their lives, it's quite overwhelming in terms of trying to figure out where you fit. And I really loved that idea of that sense of belonging regardless of what you're going to do. So I just thought it was something to share. Anyway, there's this notion of are you going to live to work or work to live? And I always think, why does it have to be one or the other? Why not do both? So like if you're going to spend hours and days and weeks and months and years working, you may as well invest in something that you love. You may as well invest in something that you enjoy doing. So I think you should really make an investment in a career that you want to pursue rather than just doing whatever. So I think it's important for you to really think about what you want to do forever. And as most people do when they're putting together a presentation, I went to Google and I was wanting to find an inspirational quote, and I came across this, and it's something that Steve Jobs, the Apple pioneer, said. And he said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle." And I think that's quite a nice sentiment in terms of trying to figure out where next after high school. So when I got asked to do this presentation, I didn't really know how to approach it. So what I always do at work is when I don't know how to approach something, I ask the children. So I asked them, what do you think the high school students need to know about what we do here at school? And so James took a very rule-like approach and started talking about no pushing and no hitting, and then decided to tell you what his favourite things were, and he was talking about how they play and they dress up, and his favourite thing was to build. Carla and Dorsa talked a lot about friendships and how you had to play with each other and you had to be careful with each other. Will talked about playing as well. But I loved what Arvin said. He said, Mia has blocks to build and steering wheels and things to climb. They need to know what all the children do. And I love the idea of you needing to know, like he really values how important his work is and that you need to check it out. So I was talking about how Steve Jobs thinks that what's important when choosing a profession is to do great work. And for me, being an early childhood teacher is my great work. And as an early childhood practitioner, you have to wear lots of different hats. It's not just being with children. If you think that you just get to play with children all day, then you're very sadly mistaken. That is one aspect of what an early childhood teacher does. So an early childhood teacher is a curriculum facilitator. So we offer very thoughtful learning experiences for children to engage in, encourage them to develop certain skills and practice certain skills. For example, in the 2s and 3s room, a really big skill is to encourage social independence and social skills. So encouraging them to negotiate, to communicate, to interact with each other respectfully, to be considerate. Those sorts of skills are things that we really value. So I'm a mentor, so I get mentored and I'm a mentor myself. So I support other staff members that are growing. I also support students that come in and are learning about early childhood. I'm a leader, which is something that sometimes I struggle with, but I'm learning to be a leader. I'm a learner. I'm an observer, a role model, a work health and safety officer. It's really important that you make sure the environment for children, families and staff is safe. A conflict resolver. So I often sit down with children and ask who had it first, what happened, tell me what's going on. So I'm often the mediator. A questioner, a disciplinarian, a storyteller, a mediator, a musician, a singer, and thankfully the children don't know that I can't sing, a first aider, a parent advisor, a counsellor, a program writer. So each and every day I write a reflective program that kind of talks about what happened in that day and the learning that occurred, so families can see what the children have been up to. An administrator. So there's a whole lot of paperwork that goes along with working with children. So they might have an accident and fall over and you'll have to write up an accident report. Or in terms of observing children and creating their child files, there's a lot of paperwork that goes alongside it. I'm a researcher, an accountant, a policy writer, and ultimately a teacher. So it's a role that has a lot of different hats. Okay, so a typical day as an early childhood teacher, I was just going to kind of run through an average day. No 2 days are ever the same, which is good, so it keeps things interesting. But just to give you a bit of background, the program that I work in operates from 7:30 in the morning to 6 at night. So it is a long day program, and the staff members do shifts within that time. So if I start at 7, I'll finish at 3, but if I start at 10, I'll finish at 6. So we kind of do shifts within that span. The school that I work in is a 51-day place centre. So there are 12 infants in the nursery, 16 toddlers in the 2s and 3s, and 23 preschoolers in the 3s and 5s. So I work in that middle section with the toddlers. Okay, so this is kind of the flow of the day. So if you're on early in the morning, you arrive at 7 o'clock and you set up the indoor and outdoor learning environments. At 7:30, the children start to filter in. So not everyone arrives all at 7:30. It's kind of like a slow progression. And in the mornings, the 2s and 3s and the 3s and 5s are all grouped together. So we have like family grouping. And it's just a gradual start. Children kind of come in, some are still in their pajamas. They have breakfast and then quiet play experiences unfold. At about 9 o'clock, we have a group time. So group time is made up of songs, books, dancing, circle games, those sorts of interactive, engaging type experiences where it's all about being together. At 9:15, we have 9:15 to 10:30. We have outdoor play, and we have a progressive morning tea where children get a chance to go and have a bite to eat. So they'll have fruit and rusks or muffins and that kind of thing. And and this is all very weather dependent, of course. So if it's torrential rain, we don't go outside. At 10:30 to 11:30, the 2s and 3s move from outside to inside, and they have small group experiences inside. So that's where our core 2s and 3s curriculum time is. There's a strong emphasis on practicing social skills, and and it's a time where we enjoy being together, and children often get a chance to sorry, I've lost my thought. Anyway, I'll just continue. 11:30 to 11:45, we have another group time. So again, it's stories and songs, but these songs are more aimed at younger children. So because it's just the 2s and 3s, so we'll have things like nursery rhymes and lots of action games where you stand up, sit down, turn around, jump up and down, that kind of thing, to kind of keep them really engaged in what they're doing, because 16 2-year-olds sitting down for 15 minutes is a challenge. So we try and keep it interactive. Then there's lunch in the dining room at 11:45. And then by about 12:20 to 12:30, that's that transition from lunch to sleep. So the children might get sleep nappies on, go to the bathroom, go and get their dummies or their comforters for bed, and hop into bed. So from 12:30 to 2, it's the children's relaxation and sleep time. And that sounds really all quiet and serene for them, which it is. But for us, it's that busy time where you get all those odd jobs done. So lunch times happen for staff. That's when I get a chance to write my program. Bathrooms get cleaned, jobs get done, that kind of stuff happens. At 2 o'clock, the children all start to get up and we return outside. At my particular school, we have chickens. So the children really enjoy feeding Henny and Penny, our chooks. And it's a time where we're outside without the older children, and they get a chance to do the things that the big kids usually kind of take over. So it's a really nice opportunity for the younger children to play. And then from 3 to 5:30, the 2s and 3s and the 3s and 5s are together again. And they have a choice of either indoor curriculum or outdoor curriculum. So they kind of have a flow on between the two. And then a progressive afternoon tea also takes place. And then between 5:30 and 6, the children get sorted to go home, quiet experiences happen, and the day's over. Alrighty, so what I thought I would do in terms of really highlighting the learning that children do and my role as a teacher, I thought the most effective way to highlight that great work would be to show you an example of what happens each and every day. So to you and me, this is just a row of stools. But to the 2s and 3s in the room this year, this is not a row of stools. This is a space where lots of learning and imagination takes place. So on these stools, the children learn to collaborate. So work together, work in partnership. They develop their language skills. They become creative and imaginative. They function as a member of a group, so they figure out how to work and learn together. They communicate with clarity, so they practice in using those skills to talk to each other, because talking is a big deal with toddlers. They engage in role play and dramatisation. They sustain thinking, so they have that shared learning goal together. They understand play scripts and roles in play. They persist, and they explore social cultural learning, and then they negotiate as well. So these aren't a royal stool, this is actually a bus. So for all the 2s and 3s, this is the bus that goes to the zoo, the bus that goes to the shops, the bus that goes to the dinosaur park, because dinosaur parks are big at the moment. And so the children all climb on, get dressed up, get the bus tickets, and off they go. So this has been a theme of their play engagements for the last 5 months. And these are 2-year-olds. So the bus play curriculum. So I'm really sorry I had to blur out these pictures, so it's just in order to protect the children. But so this is their game, this is their play, this is their work. So the children all clamber aboard and they talk about what's going on. So Stephen says, we need the tickets, I'm driving to the shop. So he'll dash off and get the tickets and hand them out and return and start driving to the shops. Anthony's been going to the shops to buy juice for the last 3 months. So he's got a whole lot of juice. Jessica, come on Stephen, let's go on the bus. So Ace, Jessica and Stephen are really big protagonists of this play and often join in together to play. Jessica refers to her experiences at home in her play and talks about going to Luna Park and the beach and having some ice cream. So she incorporates her home life and her Mia life together. Alyssa and Anthony kind of disagree quite a lot when they're on the bus together, because Anthony's always really certain that they're going to the shops and Alyssa's always certain that she's going home. So they often have this dialogue about where they're going. But Alyssa just hops off and says, I'm getting off now, bye. And that's kind of how she solves that problem. And Yaya is actually really, really shy. And so for her to even join in is quite a feat. So she joins in going to the shops and to the park, and the children are really quite accepting of new people jumping on and off the bus, and if the bus has got no more seats, then they go and grab a stool and join it to the end. So I guess for me, it's celebrating the everyday, the ordinary and the extraordinary. This is a great skill to be able to learn as a 2-year-old, to be able to function as a member of a group, to be able to join in, to be able to socialise. So in order to continue to explore this, we actually went for a walk to the bus stop that's on campus. And the children were really interested to go and have a chat to the bus driver, and the bus driver was lovely and let us hop aboard and press the buttons, and the children were asking him where the bus was going, and the driver told them that he was off to the city, and Sam was really disappointed. He was like, no, I want to go to the dinosaur park. So they had this big discussion about where they were going, and the bus driver was really great, going, yeah mate, I'd love to check out the dinosaurs too, but I've got to go to the city. And so they had this big conversation, and they went and sat aboard, and then they waved goodbye and all that kind of stuff. And it's quite interesting when I show them the photos, none of them talk about the bus, none of them talk about the driver, they all talk about being together. So it's quite interesting that what I see as a focus is not actually the focus, it's about enjoying being together. And yeah, we're planning an excursion with all our families to actually go on a bus that goes somewhere rather than just standing and watching it. So I guess it's the journey continues for us in terms of the bus play and in terms of my learning as a teacher. So I might just leave it there, but I would definitely recommend to go and volunteer somewhere. Go and spend a couple of days at a long day program, at a preschool, at a prep, and just see if it's something that you can imagine yourself doing. Look online, look at all the courses that are available to you. Okay, well, thank you for listening, guys.